Rob, thanks. And if we look at the impact here at home concerning the Johnson & Johnson vaccine, we're just going to jump right in. 26% of Lake County's doses were Johnson & Johnson. There's been more than 20,000 doses given here in Kent County, 4,400 doses in Ionia County, and 1,600 doses in Berry County. And a meeting is set for later today following the CDC and the FDA recommending a nationwide pause of said Johnson & Johnson vaccine over blood clotting concerns.
Savannah Fish is joining us this morning to tell us what's next for the vaccine and what people should know if they've already received the J&J vaccine.
Yeah, that's right. After months of preparation, Johnson & Johnson is taking a pause, and later today, immunization experts from the CDC will have an emergency meeting to decide what to do next. 6 women between the ages of 18 and 48 reported getting dangerous blood clots following the single-dose vaccine. One of them died and another is in still critical condition. It's a small fraction of the almost 7 million doses distributed, but enough to prompt a warning. While in Kalamazoo on Tuesday, Governor Whitmer seemed disappointed by the news, but didn't rule out using the Johnson & Johnson shot in the future whenever health officials give the okay. The United States Surgeon General says the pause on the J&J vaccine gives them time to work with doctors and nurses and hopefully have more answers following an emergency meeting set for later today.
To do the investigation quickly, to understand whether there's a connection between the vaccine and the adverse events. If a connection is found, then the FDA and CDC may come out with recommendations that include warnings, for example, for certain populations that may be at increased risk.
They don't have the vantage point of what really is happening here on the ground in Michigan. They don't have an understanding of the legal framework that we already have in place, much less what is in our capacity to do. This still remains a very good tool that we could end up deploying again.
And the CDC and FDA say people who already got the shot about a month ago or longer should be in the clear. For those, though, that got it recently, monitor for severe headache, abdominal pain, leg pain, or shortness of breath, and call your doctor if you've experienced any of those symptoms. A panel of immunization experts from the CDC plan to meet sometime this afternoon and hope to vote on an updated recommendation for the vaccine by the end of the day. Reporting live in the newsroom, I'm Savannah Fish for Fox 17 News.
And our top story this morning, we continue to look into this, the pause of the vaccine.
All area health departments have temporarily stopped using it, as we just talked about, but one local doctor says a pause is not necessarily a bad thing. Joining us to give her expertise is internal medicine specialist, Dr. Abha. Good to see you, doctor. Thanks again.
Good morning.
Well, let's talk about this pause. And of course, we're talking, I think from the reports that we've been talking about, 6 women ages 18 to 48. But there's been also 7 million doses of this giving out. Isn't that a small number, but certainly something to be concerned about?
Absolutely. Good morning, Mike and Deanna. So in the general population, you might see this cavernous or cerebral sinus venous thrombosis occur maybe 3, 4, 5 people in a million per year. We're now seeing 6 cases in 6.85 million doses administered of this vaccine. So that is roughly 1 in a million or less. So yes, the incidence of this reported possible side effect or adverse effect is very, very small.
And isn't the Johnson & Johnson vaccine the way that, it is made different from Pfizer and Moderna? Can you kind of explain that a little bit?
Absolutely, Deanna. So we know that Pfizer and Moderna, both of which were approved early on in December, utilize mRNA and a lipid particle or a fatty particle surrounding it. The deployment of these other vaccines, the AstraZeneca, which is not yet approved here, as well as the Johnson & Johnson, use more traditional DNA technology and the use of a deactivated adenovirus vector. What does that mean? There has to be a means by which a vaccine is deployed in the body. And in the case of Johnson & Johnson and AstraZeneca, it utilizes an inactivated cold virus, which cannot replicate in the body, and the adenovirus itself cannot make you sick. The reason I draw on AstraZeneca is because, as many people know, in Europe, there was a similar pause implemented to study about less than a dozen patients who were experiencing thrombotic or clotting events, as we are now seeing with the Johnson & Johnson vaccine in 6 women.
And Doctor, obviously pulling the Johnson & Johnson vaccine off the market, obviously people are going to start to think, well, there's less vaccine available because there's only 2 now as opposed to the 3. Is that a concern for people?
I think for those people who are anticipating getting their Johnson & Johnson vaccine this week, absolutely. I can understand where there may be a shuffle for the available Moderna and Pfizer while the J&J vaccine is put on hold. So I can understand that. But one thing I want to stress to the viewers is this: a pause is not a bad thing. It is a collective stop, and it offers us an opportunity to convey to the public what is known. It offers a playbook on a 1 in a million otherwise extremely rare illness. It allows us to know the symptoms, the diagnosis, and the management. Let us take pause alongside the scientific community right now. Allow the advisory committee on immunization to meet with the CDC and FDA today. Allow them to review these 6 cases, these 6 very important cases affecting 6 women, and let there be a conclusion based on science and merit. We have time. And while we're rushing to get 200 million Americans vaccinated in the first 100 days, imagine this: we are still on pace. We have 2 other vaccines still being rolled out and delivered. So to those listening today, I ask you to take heed. This is merely an opportunity to review the data that is available and ensure that the guidance and the measures taken are safe and sound practices.
I appreciate your time this morning. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
It is 11 minutes after 8.